Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're all having a great day so far. And that brings me onto the topic of this video, priorities. How do we set clear priorities to make sure that we achieve what we set out to achieve? Now, before we can set any sort of priorities, we need to be able to determine what our purpose or ambitions are in life. So really the thing that we want to align ourselves on our activities towards when we are living or embarking on our missions or our lives. Now, once we have done that, we need to set goals, i.e. that are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, so that we can have a clear picture of what it is that we need to do. Now, sometimes it's good to make sure that you're very clear of what your goals are or what you plan out to do, your objectives. And I've talked before about how to set goals in my previous video, so make sure you go and check that out. Now, when thinking about priorities, the best thing to do is to create a long list of things that you need to do. And you're most likely going to break it up into short-term goals and long-term goals. Now, short-term goals may be things that you need to do, between now and within 3 months or even 6 months, depending on how you see it. And long-term goals are anything from 6 months plus, things like applying for different jobs or academia, or maybe a sort of business goal that you're trying to achieve. Now, once you have been able to do that, you need to be able to categorize this information so that you're clear exactly where each thing is listed within. So without categories, your brain can't chunk or really handle how you're going to approach these different goals. So all we're doing is we're splurting out information and we're trying to organize it into categories. So again, we could use the life categories example that I mentioned in the last video, or you could use something else that is more suited towards the projects that you're trying to embark upon. But these are projects nonetheless. Now, once you have done that, make sure you order each thing that you need to do. It needs to be process-wise, it needs to be step-wise, so you know exactly how or what you need to prioritize, if that makes sense. Now, to really understand whether you can prioritize something, there are two approaches you can have. One, you can have a priority matrix. So effectively, imagine you have a big matrix or a chart, depending on what you want to call it, and you have on the side and up along urgent and important. So in one quadrant, you'll have things that are important and urgent, so things you need to do straight away. In another column, you'll have things that are not urgent but are important, so things that you need to focus on, I would say, things that you need to strategize on, and things that you need to plan in order to make sure that you achieve something. Then you'll have things that are not important but urgent. Now, if you can, try to avoid these things in the future, because there is a reason why this keeps on popping up, and you need to make sure that you stop it from popping up. And last but not least, you have things that are not urgent and not important. Now, I would argue the not important part, because these things are luxuries, things that allow you to wind down. So things like watching TV and playing games or hanging out with friends and X, Y, and Z, things that we need to do to maintain our human element, our human sort of source and substance. So don't disregard them totally, but make sure you can plot or put where these different tasks lie within the quadrants of this priority matrix. Another approach you could have is to have the long list of things that you need to do, and then have 3 columns side by side that has important, urgent, and effort. And all we're doing is rating from 1 to 5 to see how urgent it is, how important it is, and how much effort you need to apply to each thing. And that will help you determine exactly what you need to do. So once you have done this, tackle all the things that you need to tackle straight away. Make sure you do that. Make sure you tackle everything that is urgent and important and get that out of the way as soon as possible, as soon as you've finished. The next thing you need to do is also look at how you can delegate the things that are not important but urgent. Can you send someone else to do it? Could you tell a colleague, or could you hire it out or to a freelancer or a consultant to actually achieve that task? Now, when we're looking at the last two, things that are important but not urgent, you need to set a day or time and have good space and an environment to make sure that you can plan and strategize those goals. You know, those things that are important are probably things that are tearing into your long-term goals. So set time to really understand how you can position yourself for success, what strategies you need to employ, what people you need to have in your life, what resources you need in order to make sure that you can be as successful as you can be in realizing your goals. And things that are not important and not urgent, well, it's important to make sure you have rest time and downtime. You know, book in some time with your loved ones or friends, or go to the cinema, or try something that you've never tried before. So this is how we set priorities. This is how we can see for ourselves whether we have to achieve something now or achieve something later, and understand what quality is needed in order to really get the results that we need. Now, after some time, you will start to realize that there are certain things that are not as urgent as I thought they were, or not as important as I thought they were. But you have to do this process to have some data or have something at the beginning to make sure that you understand where you're heading. I hope this has been useful for you. Make sure you apply it into your life so you understand the priorities that you need to endorse, and put it on a list or a paper where you can see visible in front of you daily. Take care, God bless, and have a great rest of the week. Peace.